Have you ever finally locked in? You've quit your bad habits and you started working towards your goals. You've been consistent and you're making progress. Then one day, you slip and slide right back to square one. Because I have. I know that process all too well. It took me 7 years to lose weight and keep it off. That was 7 years of ups and downs. But now it's been over a year since I lost 50 kg and kept it off. So what changed? So to understand why we keep falling off, we need to understand triggers. Triggers are anything that triggers a behavior or response. And there's two types, external and internal. External triggers are anything in your environment that triggers a behavior or response. So like your doorbell ringing, making you run to the door. An internal trigger is a thing like an emotion or a memory that triggers a behavior or response. So for example, you feel bored, so you unlock your phone and start scrolling. The trigger is boredom, the action is scrolling. But those are two basic examples, and anything could be a trigger. Everyone has different triggers as well. You could see something and that might trigger a behavior. You could hear something and that causes you to respond. Or like I said, it could be a memory. Everyone has different memories, but a memory associated with an emotion, the emotion then becomes a trigger that triggers you to do something. Now let's use old me for an example. If I think back to my old self, I remember having 3 triggers: apps, friends, and TV. So on my phone I had 2 apps that triggered an undesired behavior. That was Uber Eats and Deliveroo. Whenever I saw those apps, it got me thinking about fast food, and then that would cause me to order, making me cheat on my diet. Seeing the apps was a trigger. Ordering the food was the response, and the result of all of that was me cheating on my diet. And the second trigger I remember having, friends. So I used to vape, and everyone around me used to vape as well. I tried quitting so many times, but the people around me didn't. So I didn't quit for long either. Being around people that vape triggered me to carry on vaping as well. My third trigger, TV. First of all, watching TV is a waste of time. It's unproductive. But whilst I watched TV, I developed a habit of snacking. So whenever I turned on the TV triggered me to get a snack. The thing is though, if the trigger only triggered the behavior once, then it wouldn't be too much of an issue. You just correct yourself after. The issue is though, the behavior that's triggered by the trigger is a trigger in itself. So you get triggered, you carry out the behavior, then that behavior in itself is a trigger, causing you to do something else. Another behavior, then another, then another, then another. It just snowballs out of control. It's like a domino effect. And that's how the smallest of triggers can make you fall off completely. It just snowballs out of control. It makes you regress into the impulsive animals that we were. The behaviors become automatic and you don't even realize what you're doing. One thing leads to the next, and the next thing you know, you've lost all progress. So how do you overcome those triggers? Remove them. Delete those apps. Get rid of those friends. Sell your TV if you have to. Like, you can try to leave those triggers in place, like in your environment or in your mind or whatever, and try to rely on willpower to get you through. But you haven't developed the discipline to do that yet, or the mindfulness. Like I said, right now the behavior is automatic. The trigger triggers the behavior. That process you're not even aware of. You just see and do. And that's where mindfulness comes in. If you're mindful enough to recognize the trigger and the associated behavior, you can stop yourself before it gets out of hand. But before you learn discipline and mindfulness, it's best just to remove those triggers entirely so you can focus solely on making progress.